Hello, everybody. Good morning or good
Good morning.
afternoon. Good afternoon, where you are. So thanks for joining this webinar. If you're probably here live or you're going to be getting the recording. And today we have an amazing mix of heads of schools and Mark Brooks, education consultant. And we're going to be talking about different schools in the UK for boarding school for your children, whether you're ready now or you're going to be considering this journey down the line. We find it that it's very insightful when we have some of these conversations that are a bit more informal. And we're going to go into a little bit more depth than maybe what you would ordinarily see on a school's website. So we're going to make sure that we also signpost links to all the different schools. So if you have any questions at all at the end of listening to this webinar or recording, you have a way to get in touch with the various schools. So my name is Yeti Williams, founder, CEO of Lagos Moms. Lagos Moms is a leading community for families, parents, raising children in Lagos, Nigeria, and in the world. And one of the most common questions we get from our community is really about choosing schools for their children, and particularly the route of choosing UK boarding schools for their children. And what we try to do is make sure that we bring insightful information to help parents make more informed decisions. So that's who I am. I'm going to let Mark introduce himself and then we're going to get started. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Yeti, and it's great to be online with you today. I'm actually speaking from Lagos at about 30 degrees heat, so any of those in the UK can feel extremely jealous. But I know quite a few of them are in the air at the moment who are joining us for this weekend. And I know a few of you on the group are going to be joining us this weekend as well and flying tomorrow, so to get some heat as well. So I'm an educational consultant, been working in Nigeria for 15 years, helping families find outstanding boarding schools for their sons and daughters. And we place about 70 students a year, and I've been made a Department for Business and Trade export champion. So the Department for Business and Trade supports everything we do, and they're coming along at the weekend. We're running a reception on Friday evening and a fashion show, which is very exciting, a charitable fashion show at the Wheat Baker this Friday evening, and a Saturday afternoon exhibition from 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock. But we'll mention that a bit later, but that's why we're here. And we're bringing 12 leading schools. And so I'd like to introduce each school to give a one or two sentence introduction about their school. So Claire Anning, going in alphabetical order, is first from Badminton Girls' School in Bristol. So tell us about your school within 2 minutes.
That's a really difficult thing to do, Mark. We are a girls' school in Bristol, and Bristol, for those of you who are not aware, is in the southwest of the country. We're an hour and 13 minutes from London Paddington, so really easy to get to Bristol. And Bristol is a really vibrant city, probably one of the leading cities in Europe now, in terms of culture and education. So the girls here really benefit from having a very small, safe environment. We're a school of 550, but with all the expectations and the opportunities that this amazing city has to offer.
Brilliant. And Sam, one of your staff team, is coming to Lagos tomorrow.
He is, and he's really excited about that. So that'll be, the first time he's been to Nigeria. So look after him, please.
Definitely, VIP treatment.
Thank you.
So coming on to Cardiff Sixth Form College, which is actually in Cardiff and now in Cambridge, and will probably be coming to a city beginning with C near you anytime soon. But Henrietta can tell us about Cardiff Sixth Form College, which is another popular destination school for Nigerian families.
Yes, of course. So Cardiff is the top school academically in the UK and has been really for the last 12 years. So it's a really academic school. So really the point of coming to Cardiff is it becomes a pathway for students to go on to leading universities worldwide. So 86% went on to the QS top 100 last year. So it's really a school which combines kind of excellent academic stuff, really, with a lot of careers preparation, university preparation to help students go where they want to go, into the kind of very, very difficult fields of, economics, business, medicine, engineering, whatever it is that people want to do at Oxford and Cambridge or Ivy League universities. So we had Nigerian students this year, for instance, at MIT and at Stanford. So really great school, very vibrant, very international. As Mark said, they do GCSEs and A levels, and in 2 locations now, in Cardiff and in Cambridge.
Thanks very much, Henrietta. That's brilliant. Now, coming down nearer to London, we have City of London Freeman School, or Freeman School for short, and Debbie Bellinger. So tell us about Freeman School, Debbie.
Yes, good morning. So Freeman's, as we are, our short name is City of London Freeman School, is quite a mouthful, but the City of London is important because we are one of 3 schools that are independent schools owned by the City of London Corporation, one of the UK's oldest business and financial institutions. The name, we drop the City of London when we describe Freeman's because we are actually not in London. We are on the outskirts of London in the Surrey countryside. We're about half an hour from Heathrow, half an hour from Gatwick, and on an easy train line into London, but we have all the benefits of being a city school in the heart of the country. We're located on a beautiful 57-acre campus, Parkland campus. We're a day and boarding school. Our boarding community is small but significant, so we have about 66 boarders in a school community of about 950. And our boarders are very much an integral part of everything that happens at Freeman's. So children coming to City of London Freeman's School have the benefits of an academically selective education at a school that is connected to all the history and the benefits that come with being part of the City of London, but within a countryside setting.
Brilliant, thanks, Debbie. So near London, countryside setting in acres of grounds, you could feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, but actually the train connections to London are virtually on the doorstep and very strong academically as well. So moving to the countryside, but not far from Bath and Bristol, we have Downside. So Izzy, tell us what's special about Downside and introduced who's next to you as well. So.
Yeah, so I've got Zara here, who's one of our pupils who came and joined us into 6th form this year. So Downside is a Catholic and Benedictine school just outside of Bath, so World Heritage City, not far away, but we're in the beautiful countryside. So it's an incredibly safe environment to be in. We achieve very high academic results for our boys and our girls. We are a majority boarding school, so we're 24/7. We have a very, very rigorous academic and broad academic program and the extracurricular activities as well. I think for our students, what is especially important to all of us really is the pastoral care that we have here. It's very much, you're nodding, it's very much an international community. We've got different nationalities from all over the world. It's what we do. We have a very strong pastoral care. It's our Benedictine values that come into play, which are all about welcome, service, and exploring really, I think every pupil, and I'll ask Zara about this, but exploring their journey of faith, whether you're a Catholic or just a Christian or not even a Christian, just no faith, but it's the values that we have within our Benedictine values that really applies to everything we do here. Welcome, service, and being yourself, I think, is really, really important, and that's what we're embracing. Zara, have you got anything you want to add to that?
I'll come back to Zara because I've got a question for her in the next round. So that's brilliant. So values are very important, Catholic ethos and countryside setting, and your head is on his way to us in Lagos on Thursday. So we're looking forward to that. And we'll come back to Zara because we'll ask her a question. Now, all the schools are incredibly different, and now I'd like to introduce Earlscliffe, which is different because it's a 6th form college, and it's by the seaside, And it's also extremely popular with Nigerian students, and they have weekly tests and weekly school reports. So, John, tell us about Earlscliffe College.
Thanks, Mark, and thanks, Yeti. So I work here at Earlscliffe. Earlscliffe is a small international school. So I would say around 90% of our students here are international. We have around 38 nationalities with us at the moment, so very diverse. And because of that, we're essentially a full boarding school. All of our students live with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And because of that, we think of ourselves as a family. We are located down right on the south coast, as Mark says, in a town called Folkestone, which is about 5 minutes from the beach and about 45 minutes by high-speed train link to London. So it's a brilliant location. It means our students are safe, secure, in a lovely town, but we access London very, very regularly. We have about 140 students here, so we're a small school, and we have a staff here, including everybody, of around 70. So the staff to student ratio is fantastic. It means that no student gets missed out. And it's really important to us that each student here is pushed to reach their absolute potential.
Brilliant, thanks, John. And I've got very many happy memories of walking along Folkestone Beach and actually seeing the coast of France last time I was there, which was really amazing. So we're going to skip to Marymount and Kirsten from Marymount.
Hello there. Thanks, Mark, and thanks, Yeti, for this opportunity to speak to the Lagos Mums community. Marymount, gosh, we are a small, independent Catholic all-girls school. We offer day and boarding, but sort of similar to Downside in the ethos of the school. We accept children from all faiths and none. Because we're an international school, we have a population of roughly 40 different nationalities amongst the students. The staff make up 17 different nationalities amongst them. And our students go on to, at the last count, our alumni were in 93 different countries, which is quite special. We offer the IB diploma, and exclusively the IB diploma. We are experts at it. We were one of the first schools internationally to adopt the IB diploma, and then one of the first to adopt the middle years program. So it is a robust program, as I'm sure many of you would know, but it opens up so many doors to our students' futures as they go on into their career paths. Our alumni are very, very close-knit. So when you join as a Marymount girl, they have a saying amongst them saying, once a Marymount girl, always a Marymount girl. And they come back and they join us and they share with us. And it overall is just a community feeling inclusive, diverse, and with the strength of the academic rigor attached with the IB program. Our students work hard. They achieve excellent results. Our last diploma program class, one of them achieved a 45, which is a perfect score, and only about 0.8% of the population taking the IB diploma will achieve that on a yearly basis. So it's really special.
Thanks very much, Kirsten. And I was just there last week, actually, and was hugely impressed. I hadn't visited for a while, so it's great. And we look forward to seeing you in Lagos in a few days' time. And we're going to jump down to Somerset to meet Rachel Debenham in a vast, spacious chapel or hall or something at the moment. So good to see you, Rachel. And would you like to tell us about Wellington School in a couple of minutes?
Good morning, and I have one of our pupils here as well, but because I have the screensaver on of our lovely chapel, as you say, Mark, you'll be able to see her in a second if you would like to ask her some questions. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Yeti, and thank you to all the Lagos mums that might be tuning in. I'm very much looking forward to being back in Lagos tomorrow afternoon. So lots of getting everything ready and last minute packing going on at the moment. So as far as Wellington is concerned, as Mark said, we're very lucky to be in Somerset in the southwest of England. It's a very safe town that we are in, a very small community town, and I always feel very honoured to do my job on two levels. So I am a mum of 3 children that have gone through the schools, so I always sort of say I know it as a mum, so if any of the Lagos mums are worried, that's always a good place to talk about it. And very bizarrely, as a sort of as a double whammy in there, I'm also a former pupil of the school. I'm very sad to say that a very long time ago, if you look closely, there's lots of grey hairs. I used to be a pupil at this school, so I very proudly look after all the new students that come to Wellington. But similar to as Kirsten was saying at Marymount, I also look after all the old Wellingtonians, and I think that's a big benefit of all the schools that are here today, is sometimes the networks and connections that you make whilst you're at school and how they benefit you in life after you've finished independent education. I think we're slightly different in the fact that we're sort of 2/3 day and 1/3 boarding. Some of the schools here are more biased towards the boarding side, and it depends really as a mum what you're looking for, but certainly our students are fully integrated with the day students, and hopefully one of our students that's here in a second can have a chat to you about how she mixes with day students as much as she does with her friends in the boarding house. But very much looking forward to talking to you in more detail at the fair on Saturday.
Brilliant, thanks, Rachel. And it's good that you mentioned former students, because I know you always have a little party with the former students when you come to the Wheat Baker at some point, and they always love catching up with you. So that's great. So I'm going to kick off with a question to each of you, and then Yeti is going to ask a question of each of you. So coming back to Claire at Badminton, can you give an example of how and perhaps why a student from Nigeria thrived at your school, or still continues to thrive at your school?
I think it's become a bit of a cliche, hasn't it, to talk about pastoral care. But I've worked in independent schools for 20 years, worked in a number of schools, and genuinely pastoral care and the care of the girls is really integral, to the point where it almost doesn't need to be highlighted. But the girls, because we teach in relatively small classes, you know, classes are typically maybe 10, 12, 14 in a class. Girls, we notice if something changes. And I think particularly with girls and when they're away from home, that's really important. So we pick up on that really quickly. We also are able to, because we're a small school, adapt to the needs of the individual pupil. So for example, we've got a girl at the moment from Lagos who, I'm not sure if you know this, Mark, but she's actually applying for Oxbridge. She's set up our maths society, and she's done the first meeting of the maths society was her presenting on some amazing maths challenge that she'd set herself. But we've also got a girl that's looking to study fine art. So we're able to really, or almost, I don't want to use the word bespoke, but create a program that meets the needs of the girls, whilst also looking after them emotionally as well as academically.
Brilliant. And that's so important when somebody's leaving home for the first time. They need to be kind of settled academically, but also settled pastorally. And I love the example of the student going to Oxbridge, but also the fine art student as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Now I'm going to skip around. So can I jump on John Peach down in Folkestone for an example of one of the many students in Nigeria who thrived at Earlscliffe College?
Yeah, that's a really challenging question, Mark, because as you know, we have a huge number that have been through our school. One of your students at the moment, Mark, Timmy, who actually both of his elder brothers came to us as well. So he is the final one that we will have. I don't think Mum's got any more plans for another one. But basically, Timmy at the moment is applying for Cambridge. He had his interview just before Christmas. He's going to find out on the 22nd of January how well he's done. And he came here. His brothers weren't as academic as he is, to be honest. They were much more into their sport. They were much more into their social life. And they had a brilliant time here, and they went on to do fantastic things, but neither of them were looking at Oxbridge. Timmy came here because they told him that he would have a good time. He would make friends for life. He would be supported by the staff, but he had a dream of getting into one of the top ranking schools in the world. And they both said the support that you will get as an individual is second to none. We have 140 students here at the moment. We have 23 Nigerians. And because of that, every single student has a personalized pathway, whether that's medicine, whether that's Cambridge, whether that's maybe just even passing your A-levels because you're not gifted in that way, we will push them in that way. So for Timmy, he's had a great time. He's made some incredible friends, but he's had a bespoke application process through to Cambridge University, and we all hope that in about 5 days' time he'll be getting a very positive letter.
And just to say that it's been all hands on deck for Timmy ever since he joined, and right from the senior leadership team of Dukes right down, and really supporting his goals. So I'm very grateful, and the parents are very grateful as well. Thanks very much, John. That's a great example. Let's come to Zara down in Downside. Downside sent me a video of about 8 minutes of Zara yesterday, which I looked through and edited. And Zara said some fantastic things about her experience at Downside. So just opening up the question to you is, why did you choose Downside? And why do you think it's been such a success for you?
So, hello everyone, my name is Zara, and I think when it came time for me to choose a school, when I was looking, I really wanted a school that had a big boarding community, and as coming as an international student, I wanted to be in a place where I had a lot of people in similar situations, where it was more of a 24/7 kind of environment. And I was also looking for a place where, because personally I'm a Christian, and with Downside's Benedictine ethos and it being a Catholic school, I did want something with that foundation. So I really appreciated how that was integrated into the school. And with Downside being on the full boarding side, there's always someone around. There's always people you can talk to. With its big international community, that was also something else I was really looking for. There's always different perspectives of people you can meet, different people you can talk to, lots of co-curriculars going on because it is 24/7, and there's always something you can get involved in. Like currently there's Legally Blonde musical that's there rehearsals for that I'm involved in, or The Tempest that we did last term, the play, which I was also involved in. So there's always something going on, and there's always ways you can get stuck in the school, which was really, really helpful.
That's really helpful, Zara, and I like the fact that you feel supported at the school. There's always friends around, strong boarding community. But I think my takeaway of what you mentioned is it's a school that really supports your values as a person and a family. And I guess we're going to come to that a bit later, but that's really powerful for you to say that. And we really appreciate how succinctly you answered that deep question. So thanks very much. So coming to Freeman School back in Ashstead, tell us about an example of an African, West African or Nigerian student who's thrived in your school and why, and try and say something different to what's been said already, Debbie.
I think we have, as I said, a small boarding community, and within that community at the moment, we've got 2 students who come from Nigeria, whose families live in Nigeria. We've got a couple of others who are of Nigerian descent, but their families live in the UK. And I think that the thing that has helped them to settle and thrive here is that we very much focus on, as I'm sure many of the schools here do, on developing the whole person. So we are interested in the development of the students academically, of course, we're an academically successful school, but also in developing leadership skills, in developing personal interests, extracurricular interests, and very much our focus is on developing the whole person. We have an ethos of inclusivity, of developing mutual respect among our students. And I think to be able to come into a community where you are valued for who you are and not just what you can achieve really helps students to feel that they are part of a family here. We also have our boarding community is quite small, which means that it's very much a family among the boarding community and a home from home for students. So I think it's easy for them to come and very quickly feel that they are known and understood, that the boarding parents and their tutors know them very well. and that helps them to feel safe and secure and to be able to take risks with some of the things they do in a safe environment. So teenage years are a time when students are trying new things and learning new things, and we want our students to feel that they can give things a go, and it might not always work out first time, but that they're in an environment where they can try things, make mistakes, pick themselves up, try again, and progress in that way.
Thanks very much, Debbie. And I really like the fact that you mentioned about taking risks, because that's how you develop resilience. You're learning how to fail as well as learning how to succeed. And you have a small boarding community where it is a family feel, as you describe it. But it's a place where you can be yourself. You're not afraid to fail, but also you're celebrated when you succeed as well. So that's really well put. Thanks very much. Now let's come to Wellington School. And we're going to hear from a pupil who's been very excited and dying to say something.
Okay.
So if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Ijama, but I tell people here to call me IJ for short because, you know, they struggle a bit. But right now, I joined Wellington School just last year, September. So I've been here for just a term, but so far it has been phenomenal, and I've truly enjoyed myself here. So I take 4 A-level subjects, which is a lot of work, but the support I've received so far from this school has been incredible. I absolutely adore every single one of my teachers. They're extremely supportive. Although I struggle, for example, so I do math, biology, chemistry, and French, and I don't feel tired. I go to school and it just I feel happy sometimes, and I'm not used to that because, you know, last year with my IGCSEs, I was always stressed and school was very annoying to me. So now it feels better now that I go to school and I look forward to seeing my teachers and engaging in my lessons. So that's it so far. And to me, what made me choose Wellington, so I actually didn't even have any option. Wellington was the only school I applied to. So I guess I was just like, cross my fingers and hope it's good, because even if I'm stuck here, and I'm just really pleased with how it turned out. One major thing I was looking for in schools was a place that could really support me in achieving my career goals. I've been interested in medicine, so I was really keen on finding a school that had a good society for that. And here in Wellington School, they have this MedSoc, so it's basically for aspiring medics, dentist, veterinary medicine, so anything basically healthcare related. And it's every Friday, and I love it. The community there is amazing, and it feels great to know that I'm not the only one that's going through this. You know, the whole application process is not great, so it just makes me feel much more happy to have a whole community of students who are also going to go through this. And so far so good, and I've really enjoyed it. And as well, I'm a boarder because I'm from Nigeria, so and my parents are not here, so I came here all alone. I loved it, actually. I love independence, travel, and I just love the whole experience of coming here on my own. And the boarding community is, I don't even know which one I prefer better, going to school or the boarding house, because my house friend, she's amazing, and she talks to you in such a loving way. So there's this connection that you just get from her immediately, and she's funny. She makes us laugh. And one thing I really enjoy about the boarding house is that every single week there's a possible outing, so you don't feel enclosed, because Wellington is a small town. So imagine just staying in Wellington for all the weeks that you spend in school. That's going to be kind of boring. But the boarding house ensures that we always get out there. On Saturdays we have activities, so you can engage with your other fellow boarding boarding peers, get to know people more from the different houses. And one trip, for example, that I'm looking forward to, so upper week, we're going to Oxford. So just trips like this, I have something to look forward to, since I'm in such a small community. So I'm like, oh, I have Oxford I'm going to, or we're going to London that week. So it's just really amazing that we get all these opportunities to just go out and still enjoy ourselves and take a break from school during the weekend.
Brilliant. Well, I can see why you were chosen to present. I've not even asked you a question yet. So
And Mark, I have to tell you, whilst we were sat here, I was saying to IJ that I'm coming tomorrow, and she's writing me a shopping list of all the things she wants me to bring back from Lagos. So Kalishi being the first thing. So you're going to have to help me track it down over the weekend for her.
Brilliant. Just a couple of questions for you, IJ. Or Ijeoma. What does your name mean? Because I know Nigerian names mean a lot. So what does your name mean?
So my full name, Ijeoma, actually means safe journey. And perhaps if you go to Nigeria and you are traveling, you would even see it. You know where they write all these safe flights in different languages, where there's bon voyage. You see my name, it's kind of like it's split into two. So there's IJE, so that's like the AJ, and then Oma, so it means safe journey. So that's what my name means. So every single name has a different meaning. But Ijeoma is actually my middle name. I'm just used to it. My first name is Deborah.
Brilliant. Good. Well, that's really powerful. Thanks so much. And if I could ask you a question not related to your school, so nobody's going to be annoyed with me that you're getting more airtime, but a general question about why you would recommend a British boarding school. Don't name your previous school, but in comparison to your previous school, would you recommend it's worth the leap? Because it is. We do hope for a safe journey for everybody, and it is a bit of a journey getting from the UK to Nigeria for schooling. Would you recommend it, and why?
I would 90% recommend a British school, not 100, because there's no place like home. But you know how some boarding houses do say home away from home and all that. I would definitely say that I feel like in a place where I'm not used to, my boarding house has become my home, if that makes sense. But like we have everything like just handed out right to us. Like you can go into the kitchen, you have that you're free to do what you want, but then at the same time there are guidelines and precautions and instructions of what you can and not do. But essentially what I mean is that you don't feel constricted and you feel relaxed. So compared to my previous boarding school, I just feel more liberated, more free to do what I want to do. I can walk out and say, let me go to Co-op and buy some things. I can take a trip down to the gym and I can go to my friends' rooms and do what I want and have fun. So it just feels more refreshing to be in a boarding school here, because it's definitely not as stressful as it was.
Brilliant, and that's brilliant. I won't ask any more questions because
Thank you.
we go on all day. I think it's fascinating having a couple of students online, and what Zara said as well was powerful as well. But let's come to Marymount. Kirsten, I forget what the question is now, but it's basically how Nigerians have thrived at your school and why. And again, you've got a very distinctive ethos and a way of doing things as well. So.
Absolutely. Well, embedded in the actual curriculum is that feeling of self-inquiry. So the girls are encouraged to really, really push the boundaries into topics that they want to explore and questions that they have about the greater world that they want to research. So we had actually a wonderful Nigerian girl graduate with us last year. She came to us right from the beginning. So she was 11 years old when she arrived in our boarding house and stayed with us the entire 7 years. And watching that growth in her as a human has been such an amazing journey for all of us as staff to be able to witness. She pushed the boundaries, she explored, she made some mistakes along the way, but she was given the opportunity to reflect and sort of rectify any incorrect choices that she'd made. And as a result, when she got to the diploma program, she was ready for the next step. We'd equipped her with all the skills that she needed for life, to the point where when she made her university applications, she received a number from Ivy Leagues in the US, as well as then Russell Group and the Oxbridge in the UK. So that just opened up the doors to her future to be able to choose where she wanted to go and where she wanted to end up. She was also given life skills such as cooking classes and learning how to do laundry. So, these sorts of things are so important when they are journeying into the tertiary education environment, is to embed those values and those skills with them.
Brilliant. I'm really glad you flagged up about the fact that you can progress to American universities from British schools, as well as British universities, and increasingly European universities as well. So thanks very much. Now we're going to go down to Henrietta, and I know you publish a book on Nigerian students who thrived at Cardiff Sixth Form College every year. You have so many, but I don't know if there's one example, and those people coming to the exhibition at the weekend can ask for a copy of that book, but maybe you can give us one example, Henrietta, out of the many.
Well, it was really interesting, Mark, because when considering the questions when they came through, I actually decided I was going to go and ask the students what it was that they valued. So it was really interesting. So I had one student who felt that all the stuff she'd done on debating and public speaking just made her so much more confident, so much more kind of comfortable speaking to groups of people. Quite a lot of the students said the one-to-one support they received from teachers was really something that they were definitely going to cherish. And the kind of the multicultural community, making friends, and the bonding that happens with boarding and having students from all around the world, for instance. I think another student was very interesting on being surrounded by like-minded people. Now at Cardiff, it's a school for academic kids, and who are very kind of ambitious and want to go on to very, very top places. So I think I understood what he was saying when Chidera said he's being surrounded by like-minded people really kind of helped motivate him as well. The opportunities for leadership came out from another of our students, Olu, for instance, when he'd been kind of leadership of the science and the innovation club, for instance. And then the kind of, the range of be able to get involved in things like the extracurricular kind of glee club, talent shows, cultural events, things that were, that people kind of would really kind of enjoy and make their experience interesting and fun. So, but I think stepping out of comfort zones came out. There was a lovely girl called Tanisha who said, it was really interesting at Cardiff. So they made me step out of my comfort zone, and I designed a drone. It was the best thing I did. I just didn't know I had those skills in me. It was really nice to hear kind of, so I suppose really taking all of that very briefly, I think why Nigerians thrive in a school is because you enable them to have an atmosphere and environment where they can be themselves, improve and develop, and feel confident. And I think that's what we do definitely at Cardiff, and indeed many of the schools I'm sure do exactly the same. But I feel that the school is very, very good at making people feel comfortable, but also pushing them to be their best.
Brilliant. That's incredibly well summarised, and things I've not heard about Cardiff Sixth Form College before. And my big takeaway is a place full of like-minded people, and I think that's really good. And this is what this event at the weekend is about, is finding the school where you'll be full of like-minded people, because every school is different. Not every school is right for everybody, but there's a unique school out there that'll suit you. Well, on that, so we finished that session from me. We're going to go over to Yeti, who's got time to ask one of her many questions that we've got prepared, but I think we've just got time for one question. Then Abra is going to ask a question, and then we can have a few Q&As if there are any, and then close at the top of the hour.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mark, for anchoring that. And it was very interesting to learn from every different school. And I think one of the interesting things for me is every time I talk to different schools and different experiences, I hear of different experiences from there, we always pick up something different. So this is very helpful in terms of being able to guide parents as well. So like Mark said, had lots of questions, but I'm going to ask one particular one that, is a real challenge that families are facing with the FX issue. Right, the Naira has seriously devalued. Sending a child to school in the UK is an investment, which a lot of Nigerian parents plan for. However, we do realize that it's much more challenging now to send a child to boarding school in the UK. So one of the things I wanted to ask each person, if you could share briefly, is in terms of the kind of support, if any, that you offer a Nigerian parent who's considering a UK boarding school for their child or children in this current economy. If you can share how you support, whether it's bursaries, scholarships, payment plans, anything that you are able to do, that would be very helpful. So I will go down based on how you all show up on my screen. So the first person will be John. You can share.
One of my favourite things about working at Earlscliffe, prior to joining Earlscliffe, I worked for universities. I worked for a couple of pretty big universities in London. And getting things done at universities is very challenging. Scholarships took about 6 months to apply for. Bursaries took even longer. Getting an email back from a vice-chancellor was impossible. Here, what I love is the communication. I will get a call from Mark, from an agent, from a parent on WhatsApp, any hour of the day, okay? And I'm happy to have that conversation. It is incredibly hard to be a parent at the moment. I'm a parent myself, and finding money for everything, if you've got 2 children, 4 children, whatever it might be, is a challenge. So we really look at communication. We have bursaries and scholarships available, but we really talk to our parents and find out what the challenges they're facing. Nigeria is not just about money, it's also about getting money out of Nigeria, making that payment. The banks are challenging in itself. So we can support in that way. Do Nigerian parents have family in the UK that can support with that payment method? So really what I would say is, my favorite thing about Earlscliffe is the communication style. We are open to talk to all of our parents. We do have bursaries and scholarships available for both very strong students, and to have a conversation with our families where maybe they have 4 children and they need a bit of support, you know, and how can we help them with that? So yeah, absolutely. Everyone is suffering at the moment, and we're very open to supporting them.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. I love the angle you took there in terms of, you know, not one answer fits everybody. It's not one size fits all. It's really dependent on the family's particular needs, and then being open enough to communicate that with you so you can support them the right way. Great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Next on my screen is Kirsten.
Thanks, Yeti. We do have bursaries and scholarships available for students as well. Our bursaries are very much means tested, and we operate a trust and transparency model with each of our families as well. Being a community of only 260 students, that gives us the flexibility to be able to do so. Our scholarships, we have multiple entry points that we will be offering scholarships for from September 2024, and that's the grade 6, our grade 9, and our grade 11, which equates to 7, 8, and 10 and 12 in the year group structure. I think ultimately our founding sisters from the RSHM, their overarching ethos is about looking after women and children. So it's about the education of children that is at the forefront of decisions around assisting families, about making sure that education is provided equally to all.
Okay, fantastic. That's great to know. So you mentioned that you're going to have scholarships that are going to come into being offered basically to students now, starting from 2024.
Correct. Yes. Typically, we only offered scholarships to our grade 6 entrants or year 7 entrants, and then internally to our grade 11. Going into grade 11 students, but we are looking at opening that up now to all for September 24.
Okay. All right, fantastic. So lots of parents will be happy to hear that. Great, thank you for sharing. Next is Isabel.
So we too do have scholarships and bursaries. So our scholarships are for entry into year 7, because we start when children are here at 11 years old, into our year 9, and then into 6th form. So, and then we will have a discretionary award into our year 10 as well, which might be based on academic merit. So we are looking at scholarships which give the honour to the child. And what we're trying to do is say that child has gained, they've got potential, and we want to recognise that. And what we do is we're taking the finance away from the children. We don't want them to be worrying about finances. So scholarships for the child, bursaries, and the finance we sort out with the parents. And I think that's really important, that the children aren't worried. They're thinking, I've got to go for this scholarship because I've got to get fee discount. We want to take that away from that child. And I think that goes with the whole values of the school, actually, to be brutally honest. I think that's really vital. So scholarships are there for entry into 6th form. And within the scholarship programs, you will see that there are a lot of societies that support the children to then gain their best academic results. And so there really are driven forward academically, but also with sport or creative subjects as well. So, yeah.
So your scholarships are available based on different criteria. So there's academic route, and then there's also creative.
Yes, academic, sport, drama, music. Music here at Downside is very, very strong. So we also do things like choral awards, because they'll be singing within the Abbey Church and things like that. And music's, yeah, a very, very strong department with us.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Great to know. And I have a question I'm going to kind of circle back, and probably I'll start with you, Isabel. In terms of applying for either a scholarship or bursaries, is the application process different?
Yeah, so scholarships, we have deadlines for applications. So every year, so January is a massive scholarship time for most of us. So 11 plus scholarships, we've just had those. 13 plus are all taking place in the next couple of weeks. And applications are normally, the deadline for applications is normally a month before that. Sixth form scholarships, generally, I think a lot of HMC schools will all take place in sort of November time, quite early in the year. So there are deadlines for those.
Fantastic, great. Thanks for sharing. And Kirsten, do you want to add to that quickly in terms of the application process? Is it different?
So with our scholarship program, our entry point in the equivalent of year 7, our grade 6 entry point, that's currently taking place right now, with closing date happening at the end of January. And then with our other scholarships, we will be looking at having those open up in the summer term, so in April, to be then awarded by about May.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, we'll go back to John when he's back. So next on my screen is Claire. So same question, and if you can also add on top of that, if there's any difference in terms of the application process.
Okay, so thank you very much. We offer scholarship program for music, for academic, and for sport, and that is available. The practical subjects, music and sport, are only available to UK-based pupils or pupils who can visit the school prior to entry, and that can be assessed. But then once you're in the school, you can then apply. So if you join in year 7, for example, you can then apply for a scholarship in year 9, or in sixth form, year 9 into sixth form. You know, when you get to the sixth form point, you can apply for a scholarship then. So being an existing pupil doesn't stop you applying for a scholarship further along down the road. And we also offer bursaries for pupils, and in fact, I think we've got a Nigerian pupil at the moment, but whose family are based in the UK. And that because we have to fully be able to assess all income and all assets, which is quite difficult to do. Badminton is a really global school. It has 36 different nationalities in the boarding house. So we are very transparent about our bursaries and our scholarships program. And our scholarships program is very, it not only gives status to the pupil, it has some monetary value, but it also there's an extension program that's really important, so that the individual scholars, whether they be music, whether they be drama, whether they be sport, whether they be academic, really feel that they are very special within our school community, and they're made to feel that way. And we have a number of scholars now who are from or have been from Nigeria.
Okay. All right, great. So if a child gets admitted from Nigeria, for example, and they wanted to go for a scholarship in sports or music, that is possible once they are already based in the UK in your school. Yeah, and they can also sit an academic scholarship before they start, because that's obviously easier to administer. And I'm not sure if you mentioned it already. Is the application process different in terms of yeah, so we look at admitting people mostly into year 7, 9, and for lower 6th, and all of those have now passed the deadlines for 2024 entry, but we do still have a number of spaces for year 9 and 1 or 2 for sixth form, so we would look at late applications for those. Okay, fantastic. Thanks for sharing, Claire. All right, next is Debbie.
Yes, so like the other schools that you've already spoken to, we offer both scholarships and bursaries. Our scholarships are awarded, we offer academic and music scholarships at the moment. We are looking at developing our scholarship programme to perhaps include some sports and performing arts scholarships. Scholarships are very much awarded on merit in a particular area, whether it's academic or music. And like Downside, our scholarships are of limited financial value. There is a small discount on fees with the scholarship, but most of our support will go into our bursary programme. And you might be interested to know that our headmaster was himself a bursary boy back in his youth. He was awarded a bursary to an independent grammar school and subsequently went on to Oxford, where he took his degree. And he has a real heart for providing transformative opportunities to children who are academically able but might otherwise not be able to afford to enjoy the benefits of an education at our school. So the financial support that we offer is very much channeled into our bursary programme. Students applying for bursaries, the families are assessed individually. They're asked to submit a statement of financial circumstances, and each application is viewed on is assessed on its own individual merits. And that process takes place during the autumn term, around about the same time as the entrance exam. So when we are making our offers of places, we're able to indicate if we can offer support and the level of support that might be available. And bursaries are of up to 100% of fees are available according to circumstance.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks. And thanks for sharing that practical example with the head of your school, having been one of the beneficiaries of, getting that and being able to go on to one of the top universities in the world. So that's a good.
Yeah, I think bursaries can offer that sort of transformative experience for students for whom that would be appropriate.
Fantastic. Thanks, Debbie. All right, next will be Rachel.
Hey, so last but not least, probably echoing pretty much what everybody has said. So we have both scholarships and bursaries. And I think IJ probably spoke for me a little bit. It won't surprise you to know that each year we also have Heads Awards, which is where our heads will select a handful of students for a headmaster's scholarship, which is that real all-round child that gives you a lot. And I don't think it will surprise anybody to know on the call that IJ was the recipient of one of those last year. So we do our assessments remotely. So if the Nigerian students that are interested in doing scholarships can contact Mark. Mark will give me a call and then we can set up those assessments and we would look at academic school reports. Then there's an interview and there's some testing that needs to be done as well. But all of that can be done remotely. So they don't have to travel if they're not in the UK. Obviously, if they're here, they're very, very welcome to do those assessments in school, but we have the flexibility of doing both. Bursaries in exactly the same way. Obviously, the sort of bursary pot is the other half of my job. So I was very similar, Debbie, to your head. So I was a bursary child when I was at Wellington. So something that I'm quite passionate about, having a good legacy for families to be able to access going forwards. And then finally, I think similar to what John was saying is that we have payment plans available for all sorts of families, but international families as well, sometimes just when exchange rates hit at different times, or obviously the tricky bits that John was talking about in terms of bank transfers. So we can just take that on a case-by-case basis with a family. Sometimes it's easier for them to pay a lump sum in advance, and sometimes they would rather pay sort of little and often, depending on, as I say, exchange rates and banking covenants and things like that. So I'm very open to have those conversations individually with families as they approach. And just the other side of scholarships, which is again very similar to everybody I'm sure that's on the call, is this supportive program. So IJ obviously comes to us as a part academic scholar, and she was talking about the MedSoc program. So the academic scholars have a program in school that supports that. Similarly, the sports students would have early morning sports sessions, nutrition classes, all of those those things. So actually, I think it was Isabel that said the students themselves see the support in school, whereas very much the conversation around finance is being had between usually me and the parents directly, with Mark kind of guiding the parents helpfully along the way.
That's great to know. You know, and I think in addition to, you know, what you've all said, the importance of or knowing that parents don't have to hide the fact that it is a challenge, you know, getting money out of Nigeria to schools in the UK, and knowing that that's something that there's appetite for, to have conversations around how to support that. That's definitely something that parents need to hear. So thanks for sharing. And last but not least, we have Henrietta.
Well, we're slightly different because we're academic. So we just do academic scholarships. We don't do bursaries at all. They're worth up to 50% of the tuition fees. And in terms of the process, students will take very different papers. They'll take scholarship papers rather than entrance papers, which are obviously of a different level than an entrance paper. And they take that in the 4 subjects that they would like to study for A-level. So generally, what do people get? Generally, people probably get around about 20%. I would have thought 30% off tuition fees as a guideline, but if they're particularly brilliant, they'll get up to 50%. And yes, mine is very kind of very easy in many ways. It's absolutely straight academic based.
Okay. Well, very straightforward. And are the deadlines any different? I don't know if you mentioned that already in terms of the regular application.
No, that we take, so because we actually only take students kind of, we only test them 1 year in advance, because we're particularly looking for academic students. It's no point in me testing an 11-year-old who wants to come in at 16 and we have no idea where they're going to be at academically really and what their potential is going to be. So we test really for scholarships during the year. However, I would say that there is probably with most schools there is a scholarship pot. You know, there is there's an amount of money that is available each year. So the earlier that people do it, I would recommend, the better.
That's great to know. Thanks for sharing that. All right, great, thank you. Yeah, like Mark said, we had 1 question each, but I think it covered a lot. And so over to you, Mark. Thank you so much all for sharing that.
Thanks very much. That's really helpful. And actually, as Rachel was speaking, I had a message from one of her parents we introduced from Zimbabwe, asking about university preparation and destinations. So literally, as Rachel was speaking. So our communication with parents never stops. So that's great.
I know exactly who that was.
Exactly. And we must talk about it tomorrow when you land. So all's good there. Abra, our new colleague, is going to introduce herself and then just ask a quick fire round of some questions she has prepared. So over to Abra.
Okay, so good afternoon. I'm delighted to be here as the newest member of the Mark Brooks education team, formerly the head of Grange School here in Lagos. So as we are all aware on this call, there are some key elements of British boarding school education that are unique to that particular experience. So I just, in a quick fire round, and I'm very conscious of time, I'd like to go around and ask each of you to name 1 key feature of education in British boarding school that you feel that your school does particularly well. So I'm going to start with Claire at Badminton.
I think we're really good at finding the right fit between the school and the prospective pupil. We take a lot of time to ensure that that happens. And so that's probably the biggest selling feature for our school, that the girls who come here want to come here, they're happy to come here, they're happy when they're here, and they thrive, genuinely.
All right, thanks very much. And then Henrietta, Cardiff Sixth Form.
I think what Cardiff is outstanding at, and having worked in different boarding schools, is the careers preparation and university preparation, with extensive international and UK work experience programs, you know, kind of big enrichment weeks during half terms where speakers come in from lots of different industry, and then the one-to-one guidance towards universities, and particularly for our students for top universities, including admissions test prep, you know, personal statement prep. That's what Cardiff does really, really well.
Okay, thank you. And then Debbie at Freeman's.
Yeah, so Freeman's has a strapline, a three-word strapline. Many of us use them in our marketing, and our strapline is learn, lead, and make a difference. And I think one of the things that's very special about Freeman's is that we're not only preparing children to become successful academically, but our ethos is very much equipping them to go out into the world and make a difference and give back something of what they have gained while they're with us. So we're very strong on developing a worldview, and equipping our students to gain the skills they're going to need to go out and make a difference in their community, wherever that will be when they end up beyond Freeman's.
Okay, thank you very much. And then Isabel, downside.
Yeah, I think here at Downside, it's fascinating. This is a sense of community, and it's a sense that every single person here is an individual. And I think they are really recognised in a school of 350 as individuals, and they are supported wholeheartedly all the way through that. And they're not going to be perfect. We all know children are not perfect all the way through their careers. They're allowed, if they make a mistake, we recognise it, and then we say, okay, you move on from that. But they're supported. I think, as others have said, they feel very well supported here in quite a small community, international community. And I think that to be able to be yourself and to actually be recognised and said, you know, it's okay. You don't have to be the best at everything, but be the best version of yourself and have high aspirations to do whatever you're doing really well. I think that it's a forgiving environment, really.
Thank you, Isabel. And then John at Earlscliffe.
We're a family. We create a home from home environment here where students have a platform. I remember being a kid myself, just about, you know, if things are tough at home, the rest is really, really hard as well. We want our students to feel completely at home here. They can walk around in their slippers and go down to breakfast. They can do each other's hair at 10 in the evening, so that they feel that sisterhood, that brotherhood. So for us, everything comes from that home environment of good food, good pastoral care, and being supported by your staff and your fellow students.
Okay, thank you, John. And Kirsten at Marymount.
I think the unique part about our school is that with the academic rigor, with the way that we embrace our students as family, and then and their extended family as our family, we end up guiding students to become ready for what happens after secondary school. They are ready to take on the world, they're ready for tertiary education, and they leave us as independent, self-aware, and resilient young women who are ultimately going to be world's greatest leaders.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, Rachel at Wellington.
Hey, just a very quick one from me. I think it's about the welcome that our pupils give. So we have to assume, I think, that all the teachers will be amazing and the pastoral care will be good. But actually, I always say it's the easiest part of my job is I know when students arrive, how the other students will welcome them, get them involved, look after them. I think that's a really important part of feeling settled very quickly, because a lot of these students, it's the very first time they've maybe even travelled abroad, certainly first time that they've lived in a boarding school all on their own, and actually what they need is their peers around them to make them feel welcome. And that's been like it for a very, very long time. I've no idea what the magic recipe is, but I'm not going to touch it, because it's the easiest part of my job to reassure the mums that the other students will make them feel very welcome and involved in school life.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't think I've left anyone out, Mark, but over to you. Thank you for all those really exciting.
You covered everyone. That's brilliant. So thanks very much for everyone joining us today. We look forward to seeing guests at the reception on Friday the 19th at the Wheatbaker Hotel, with a reception and fashion show. And we've just been told that the Wheatbaker are donating £1 million worth of gifts for a charity auction. That's £1 million, not £1 million, but it's still a lot of money. So it's free spas and free nights and everything. So it's great incentive to come along. Saturday exhibition this Saturday at the Wheatbaker in the afternoon. And then many of us are going to Abuja on Sunday. And we have an exhibition on Monday the 22nd at the Hilton Transcorp on Monday the 22nd. So look forward to seeing you there. And I'd like to use IJ's name to wish everyone a safe flight and safe journey to us in Lagos over the next few days. Over to Yeti.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everybody. John, Kirsten, Isabel, Claire, Debbie, Rachel, Henrietta, and Abra. Lovely meeting everybody again online and sharing. And safe journey to Lagos. I won't be there this time, but I'm sure you have a great time. And we will be sharing all the details about the upcoming, fair to our huge community as well. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.